Hello there. In modern Britain, a growing number of citizens are sounding the alarm. Look after your own first. This principle, grounded in fairness and social responsibility, reflects the concern that national policies on immigration, housing and public service provision are increasingly prioritising non-citizens over lifelong residents. With the UK's population rising nearly a million people each year, driven largely by immigration, the pressure on housing, the NHS, schools and wages are becoming unsustainable. If this trajectory is not currently corrected, the next 5 years will bring a deepening crisis, soaring housing costs, which we're seeing now, public service breakdown, which we're seeing now, widening inequality, which we're seeing now, and social fragmentation, which we're seeing now. Now I'm trying to explore the causes of the problems that outline the likely consequences if nothing is done. We just carry on. Shut up, you racist, bigot, fascist. And the process framework for sustainable immigration and housing policies that protect the interests of the British citizen while preserving national integrity. Housing has become the front-line issue. In communities across the UK, private landlords are removing families from rented homes to sign contracts with Serco. Similar companies who offer guaranteed income for housing asylum seekers. Global investment firms like BlackRock are buying housing stock as long-term assets and other assets of local authorities, removing homes from the markets entirely. In parallel, working class Britons are priced out of the communities. Young families cannot get on the property ladder. The public housing waiting lists are years long. Absolutely years long. NH waiting times are growing. Classrooms are overcrowded. Yet the government continues to enable mass migration with little regard for national capacity or the long-term consequences. So, why is the government doing this? Well, they have international treaty obligations, for example the United Nations Refugee Convention. We've got businesses lobbying for cheap labour. Why pay you when they can pay him? Political correctness and globalist ideology. Then the usual from any government in this country, the short-term economic thinking that values GDP over quality of life. And all this comes at the expense of local people. When citizens see foreign nationals placed in housing before them or our services overwhelmed, the social contract begins to fray. Now this isn't about xenophobia, it's about fairness and national cohesion. Now if we carry on, which the Labour Party are just taking the baton off the Conservative Party, what happens? Own ownership becomes unobtainable. Right, first time buyers will be locked out as prices continue to rise from the investor speculation and excess demands. Rents will rise sharply, especially in urban areas as councils and government contracts dominate the market. NHS waiting times will grow beyond what's medically safe, if it's not already grown that far now. GP shortages will force even the basic care to be delayed or denied. schools in high immigration areas will become permanently overcrowded, degrading educational quality for all children. Frustration will fuel a widening cultural divide between immigrants and long-term residents. Far left and far right extremists may grow in the response to unmet community needs and government inaction. Protests, riots and violent crashes could become more common in cities under the greatest pressure. Ongoing reliance on international courts and agreements, for example the ECHR, will continue to block deportations, enforce open asylum policies and weaken UK sovereignty. The public perception of the state will degrade as people feel powerless to influence immigration decisions. Well, we are powerless because we do not influence any immigration policies. Intergenerational and inter-community trust will decline. Citizens will withdraw from civic life, no longer believing the government represents them. I'm not voting, they don't give a toss about me, do they? Young Britons will lose hope and ever owning property or receiving priority in their own country. Now, we can reverse this. It could have been reversed years ago. Right. But the UK must shift to a system of sustainable immigration management, grounded on the interests of us, the citizen. And I think the following reforms are absolutely essential. We'll set a base immigration cap, a capacity cap. Annual migration limits should be tied to available housing, NHS access and skill capacity, so that doesn't overpush the communities, and communities can absorb additional folk. Tighten the asylum and family routes. Process asylum claims in safe third world countries or safe third countries to dedicate offshore entries. Limit family reunification to spouses and children only, preventing chain migration. Let's have a points-based system which should admit only those with critical skills, for example engineering, healthcare. Migrants must demonstrate English proficiency, no criminal record and a confirmed job in a needed field. The borders and deportations. Increase border patrols and remove illegal migrants swiftly. Use NHS, schools and job data to track overstayers and deny illegal residents public services. Councils should be able to pause and limit migration based on infrastructure strain. Migrant placements must be spread fairly across the country, not just dumped in poorer towns. Required integration. Long-term residency and citizenship should be earned by demonstrating such things as English fluency, knowledge of UK laws and customs, employment or voluntary contributions, no benefit dependence or criminal record. Then we must ban large-scale investors hoarding of housing stock. Build public housing prioritising British families and veterans. Prioritise landlords, penalise I should say, private landlords who evict tenants in exchange for migrant housing contracts, which are very, very lucrative. A landlord's getting £800 off some poor family can get 12, 13, 1400 off Serco. No ifs, no buts, no responsibilities. Cooker blows up or what have you, don't worry, we'll fix it. For 5 years. And then, after 5 years, they'll put the house back into how it was. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What chance has any UK citizen got of renting somewhere? So penalise landlords who evict tenants in exchange for migrant housing contracts. Opt out of international treaties or agreements that block border controls and enforcement or deportation. Reassert UK legal sovereignty over who can stay in this country. If the UK is to survive and thrive, it must return to policies that prioritise citizens, defend national resources and maintain public order. The call to look after your own is not selfish. It's essential. A nation that fails to care for its own people will eventually lose its identity, its stability, and the consent of its citizens. In 5 years, and I'm saying 5 years, could be sooner, we can either face a divided, overloaded country where citizens are second class in their own land, or we can act now. Choose sustainable policies and rebuild a fairer, stronger Britain. And I sincerely believe it is now the time to choose. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye now.